For those that deal with grief, the single most important thing to handling it comes with the ability to speak with others about it. In this 5-part series, we address the main points to get others to open up about their pain and how people who have gone through that exact process have guided others along the way to do the same. These are their experiences and their stories. Hey man, thank you for joining me again. Can you please give me your name and age for the record, just in case?
All right. My name is Ricky, and I'm 29 years old.
All right, Ricky. Well, today we're going to talk about how to get others to talk through their pain and through their grief. Think you can handle that for me?
Yes.
All right, let's get right into it. So my question to you is, beyond your testimony and your story, what was it that made you originally open up and start talking about the things you were going through?
I think beyond my story and beyond actually my personal thing going on was seeing other people share their personal story and their things going on. You know, inside these grief groups, I would see people that, you know, walking around daily. I would never think twice that they were going through something, or maybe I did. You know, maybe I did assume that of them, that something was wrong. But inside that group, people lead with such vulnerability who are so used to being in that group that you almost can't help but just wear your heart on your shoulder or on your sleeve, so to speak, because you really see that, hey, that something has got them to the point where they're so trusting to be able to share something so sensitive that, you know, maybe I can reach out and do that. Or, you know, obviously this is helping. That's what, at least for me, I thought it was obvious that something was helping in order for these kids to share something so personal like that they're going through. So it almost takes a leap of faith, you know, and a trust in yourself to be able to express yourself as well. But for me, I think that was the biggest point, was hearing other people actually break down. And some people would get so deep they'd cry, and they'd kind of show you a level that maybe you wanted to get on, because they kind of just let it all out. They kind of just poured it out instead of holding it in. They would just pour it out, and that was it. It was done. After they were done sharing and crying, a lot of them were smiling. A lot of them were laughing. You know, a lot of them were having a good time after that. Whereas when I was holding it in, I wasn't laughing or smiling. I didn't feel better. So I think that was what really made me actually think, okay, you know, I can be as vulnerable as they are.
So would you say, in essence, it was the openness of others and the fact that you weren't alone, and the fact that you were dealing with things and that other people have pain just the same as anyone else?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we kind of close ourselves off. We kind of put our blinders on, and when we're going through something, whether it be big or small, and we don't realize that there's other people who are going through similar things as well. And that can be your support system, really. You know, you can really lean on that, knowing that someone made it through something. You know, that was the biggest thing that I love to hear, when someone made it through. You know, they lost somebody, but they made it through. They're okay. You know, they put them in a better place. That was a big relief for me when my great grandmother passed away. I didn't see life after that, really. You know, she was my mother, really. So I didn't see life after that. But then knowing that people had actually, you know, lost somebody dear to them like I did, and they were able to turn it around and try to make them proud with their life, or take the life lessons that they taught them and try to, you know, make it better. I think that was what really made me feel like I wasn't alone in that grief.
Awesome. What would you say are some of the best ways that we can approach others going through pain and going through grief? Like, do you have specific methods that you use to talk to other people that you think might be dealing with something?
I think the biggest thing that I use is definitely I put myself in their shoes. If I know that they're going through something, but I don't pretend to know exactly how they feel. I could never understand how someone's exactly feeling, even if it's almost the exact same situation. But I want to put myself there with them. It's almost a sense like, yeah, I want to have their back. You know, I know you're going through something. I want to be there for you. I want to have your back. And a lot of times it's as simple as just, hey, are you okay? You know, just chipping away at that iceberg, really, instead of a lot of people are real aggressive with it. And I think I tried that method as well, trying to be real aggressive. Like, just tell me what's wrong. I'm here, you know. But a lot of it's patience. a lot of it's patience, and a lot of it's understanding that you're not going to know exactly how someone feels, but just to know that you can be that shoulder, or you can be that person that has their back, I think is what people really see. And it really shows, because I even now in my workplace or my family, I'll use that, putting myself in their situation, but not trying to make myself be or feel the way they feel, because I can never understand that. Just letting them know I'm here. I think it breaks people away, or breaks them out of their shell. You know, it's like breaking that glass for that just in case of emergency thing. You know, it's really a barrier that you got to chip away at. So I think just being there, just make yourself available, make yourself available for their vulnerableness, and it really shows, even if they don't lead with that vulnerability.
So do you think that in your experience, even just the gesture of making yourself available is a surefire way to get people to actually talk about their pain and the things they're going through, even if it's not like immediate, even if it's not right away? Do you think just making yourself available and saying, hey man, I've been there too. I know, like, I can't say that I can empathize with you, but I can sympathize, and I'm here for you if you need me. Do you think that's sometimes enough?
Definitely. I think so. I think by nature, a lot of people don't want to break down right away. You know I didn't want to. Even to this day, I kind of hesitate, and then I go back to, remember how good you felt when you actually did just let it out?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of go back to. But I definitely think that just knowing that someone's there. Hey, you know, I don't know what you're going through. It looks like you're going through something. If there's something you need to talk about, I'm available. I'm here. You know, we can go offline or whatever you want to do. I'm here to talk if you want. Or if you don't, that's fine. But as long as they have that option, I think that it really opens them up to be vulnerable, to actually express themselves. Just like the way the groups did, really. Tom never pried, or anyone in the group never pried. It was, you know, hey, do you have something to share? And if maybe that day you didn't feel like it, it was, okay. You know, I hope you're doing okay, and we'll move on. But by the time you heard everybody else share, yeah, you wanted to share. But I think just making yourself really available, and showing that you genuinely care, and it's not just a, hey, are you all right? Are you done? You know, that kind of thing. So I definitely think just making yourself available, and just being that presence there, even if you're just standing there, really. So I really think
sometimes the presence is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest issues, is that when people go through something, or when they get hurt, their initial response and their knee-jerk reaction is to just shut themselves down and close themselves off. They don't want to open up for the fear of getting hurt again. And it's understandably so, but it's literally the complete opposite of precisely what they need to do. Because in order to grow in a romantic relationship, you need to be vulnerable, and you need to allow yourself to feel. And in a friendship, you need to allow that trust and that confidence with communication between friends to be there. And you need that open honesty. So when it comes time for somebody that's gotten hurt to all of a sudden then shut down and close themselves off, it's the exact opposite of what needs to be done. It's at that point in which you need to be most open with others that are trusting in your life.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, in my experience, that's the thing that I've dealt with.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely, it's like that saying, you know, people always say, if I would have known better when I was, you know, this age, if I would have known, you know, when I was a teenager.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. If I would have known when I was going through all the stuff I was going through, that just doing a basic share of how I was feeling would make me feel so good, I would have done it right away. I would have done it right when it happened. So I definitely think that helps a lot. And I remember Tom actually told me something in one of the grief groups. It wasn't directly to me, but he was saying it. And I actually use it to this day on my coworkers, or like I said, my friends or family. But he was saying, when you hold in all your emotions, it's like holding a beach ball underwater, you know, and it struggles to come to air, struggles and struggles. Well, one day that beach ball full of emotions is going to get out. And when it comes out of that water, when it breaks the surface, it's going to be violent. It's not going to be pretty. So stop trying to hold that ball under that water. You know, the deeper you go, the more violent it's going to be. Let it go right when you go past the surface.
Mm-hmm. It's a creative analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways in which you yourself have helped others through the pain, or even just helped yourself out of your own pain? What are some of the methods that you use mainly to approach others or talk with others, or the things you might say to people to get them to talk?
I definitely think the biggest one for me was definitely finding faith. You know, knowing that that God's in control, pretty much. For me, that was a big one, and then also just putting them in the person who you were affected by. In my case, it was my great grandmother. Putting them in a better place. You know, putting them in a place, and not only like thinking physically, but in your mind. You know, you carry so many memories with you. Continue to carry those, and for me, that's what it was. I continue to carry those, and her legacy, her life lives on through me, and the way she loved me. Now I'm transferring that to my 2 kids. That's the way I love my children. So I think carrying that torch, so to speak, definitely helped it out. I guess the way that I would get people to open up is definitely let them know, hey, I've been through things. You know, I've been through something. You know, and if you ever need someone to be available to you, I'm here. You know, I think just letting people know that you're here. And once that conversation gets started, I really think that a lot of people don't actually listen to what people are saying. Take the time, at least myself, I take the time and listen to what they're actually saying. A lot of time it can just go on and on and on, and that's fine. I think give them the time they need to vent, give them the time they need to actually say what's on their mind, and actually listen to them. Don't think about what you're going to say afterwards. You'll know once the time comes, I think. But for me, I think that's the biggest one, is definitely just be that listener. You know, like we said earlier, that presence really can just hold a lot of value when people know when you're sincere. So.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting perspective. I never actually thought of it like that. Just instead of focusing on what you're going to say next, focus on what they're saying. I like that.
Yeah,
my final question to you is, in your opinion, do you think that the act of first getting people to open up, the very first time they talk, is actually crucial and key to getting past their pain and moving forward with it? Do you think that's accurate to say?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. You know, like I said in one of the earlier questions, I wish I would have known, you know, that right away I would have opened up, you know, to somebody, someone, a loved one or a trusted person like Tom or my brother. I know I mentioned my brother in our other interview, but I definitely think that that's one of the biggest breaking points, or one of the biggest focus points that should be out there, is actually letting people open up right away, or getting them to open up right away. I think that's really the trick. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think really it's just, I would have never said anything if I really didn't think Tom cared. If I really didn't think that those other students that were sitting next to me cared, I would have never said anything. So as long as there's other people who are actually caring, there's someone who's showing you that, you know, you can break down to me, you can actually say something to me. I think that's a big step, definitely. Once I opened up and actually said what I needed to say, I remember breaking down a lot in those meetings, and once that happened, it was like a weight was just gone. You know, because your mind, you can argue back and forth with different theories, different thoughts, different what ifs, but once you speak and other people hear it, then their mind enters the chat pretty much. So I definitely think that it's good to have that kind of support system, because you don't have to go through this life alone. I mean, I don't think we were meant to go through this life alone. So.
Well, that's very wise, at least I think.
Yeah.
Well, Ricky, thank you for joining me. I appreciate all your input and honesty. So thank you again so much.
Yeah, thank you as well. It's good to meet you.
Likewise. Take care.
You the same.